Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Carrot Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 1979 sci-fi horror film titled Alien. This was, of course, a long-standing franchise that has been going on for almost 45 years, maybe over 45 years. But this was the catalyst that started all. And it's still running to this very day, this franchise. Sure, it's not sure the other sequels and the other sequels that followed up this franchise was not up to par with the original one and the 1986 movie Aliens, but this was the one that started it all. So with all that said and done, the runtime of this movie is 1 hour and 56 minutes long. It is directed by Ridley Scott. The script was written by Dan O'Bannon. The story was done by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. It is produced by Gordon Carroll, David Giller, and Walter Hill. It is composed by Jerry Goldsmith, the cinematography by Derek Van Lint, and it was edited by Terry Rawlings and Peter Weatherly. And although this movie had a short cast, it was actually quite impactful, and every performer here did a bang-up job. The stars of the movie are, believe it or not, even though she doesn't get top billing, I still consider her the star of the movie. So, with all that said and done, we have Sigourney Weaver playing the iconic character of Ellen Ripley, which she would reprise in the movie Aliens in 1986 and Aliens 3 in 1992. Also joining the cast includes Tom Skerritt, Ian Holm, Yaphet Kotto, Veronica Cartwright, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt, Bolaji Bodeo as the alien, and Helen Horton as the voice of the computer in the space shuttle, the Nostromo, simply known as Mother. Excuse me about a little bit of some chest congestion, but I'm fine. Alright, two of the essential ingredients for a film to achieve the approval of the fans' support is when you juxtapose entertainment with artistic integrity. This movie actually is saturated with artistic integrity. I mean, just the look inside of the Nostromo is actually quite appealing. It's like everything you would expect to find in a space shuttle. Pods for sleeping, a dinner table where you could socialize. Of course, there's an entertainment center for people to entertain themselves when they're bored up in space. And is there anything missing? Oh yeah, a big, slimy, deadly alien. Of all the genres, science fiction can be one of the most complex films to achieve that goal. But when it succeeds, it can be quite rewarding. So in 1979, director Ridley Scott, even though I accidentally called him Rodney Scoot, no, that's if he's Scottish. Then Ridley Scott is Rodney Scoot. No, I'm sorry about that. Anybody in the Scottish community who may have been offended by my accent, let me assure you, I'm just an actor. So, I do all these voices. Anyhow, Ridley Scott made not his directorial debut, but his first exposed movie to the North American audience with the movie Alien. Before then, nobody ever heard of Ridley Scott. Hell, nobody even heard of Tony Scott, his late brother. But from a viewer's standpoint, it looks like a simple sci-fi creature feature picture as the crew from a financially unstable spaceship must battle a deadly alien creature that has found his way to get in their ship. Let me just tell you this. This ain't no fucking E.T. here we're talking about. This ain't no fucking alien with a little glowy finger that will touch you and will heal you if you're sick. No. This is one deadly motherfucker. He will rip into you. He will destroy you. And apparently, he has actually made his way into the Nostromo, giving every crew member's life a living hell. If they actually live long enough to have their lives a living hell. Alright, aside from all that, what makes this movie a success is that the detail that was put into the story that has made it an iconic staple in the sci-fi genre. And now, let me remind you though, this movie was done on a very low budget. But it made its money. And it was proven successful that it garnered more Alien sequels. Most of them did not measure up to the original Alien and the 1986 Aliens, but it still made its money. Once after, I guess, Alien Covenant, it started to go downhill. But everything about this creature feature works effectively, from its ugly character design to its deadly intentions, and its hiss gives the xenomorph, which is what the alien is called, a well-earned place in the annals of classic movie monsters. Now, some people have often dismissed the movie Alien as being just another bona fide slasher movie film where an evil entity will just go out and destroy anybody that crosses its path. Well, be that as it may, but there's a lot more to that. In fact, did you know that actually Harry Dean Stanton practically refused to be in this movie simply because he hates horror movies and he also hates monster movies. But director Ridley Scott, through the power of persuasion, actually managed to get Harry Dean Stanton the opportunity to be in this movie on account that it's more closer to the Agatha Christie movie And Then There Were None, where one by one characters die and a lot of paranoia and mistrust come into the narrative. And yes, there is a lot of insecurity. Because what appeared to be a generic commercial space mission turned into a fight for survival, as none of the members of the Nostromo were ever prepared for such a catastrophe when the alien xenomorph poked its ugly head through its corridors. This is some real crazy shit. So the story is about the crew on the Nostromo. They're on their way back home to Earth. While they were in their hypersleep, a SOS transmission is ignited and an unknown vessel has arrived. After further research, they discover a hideous alien creature that has an endless craving for blood and death. And boy, is it one scary motherfucker. I mean, it has like big jaggedy teeth. It has like a head that's sort of like almost like goes like right into the back of them. It has a tail. Must be about over 7 feet tall. And it's after the crew. So under the leadership of Captain Dallas, played by Tom Skerritt, and his second in charge, Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, they are now faced with danger as they must survive against an entity that is almost unbeatable and hard to comprehend. So it appears that this commercial crew is the unfortunate underdogs, as they never in their lives have met anything so enigmatic and dangerous. Remember, they're just a commercial crew. Their space mission was for commercial purposes and nothing more. They're not warriors, they're astronauts. Sure they have weaponry in case any possible eventualities should occur. But to battle a hideous, dangerous alien creature like a xenomorph, who knew? Alien is obviously one of the most hardcore sci-fi movies ever made. The opening sequences before the monster makes its way in has great moments of unsettling vibes. Even when we reach the end, there is really no general conclusion, as we assume that there is something more out there that has been given to us in this. And of course, we all know there were many sequels that followed. But prior to the sequels that followed this movie, maybe we've all had a hint that there's probably more than just one of this alien's kind. And we were proven right. It appears that this alien is not the last of his kind, because we find that out in the sequel, Aliens. Remember, folks, this was only just the beginning. There's more shit that follows. So even as we reach there is no general conclusion, as we assume that there is something more out there that has been given to us in this wild roller coaster of excitement and gruesome terror. The intensity level is raw, unsettling, and very graphic in detail. Even from inside the ship, Scott takes advantage of how very condemned this ship really is. But in spite of its low budget, the ship is still, you know, a pretty cool field trip exploration. The view from inside is quite artistic in detail. But it's still condemned, and it shows that the crew will manage to survive, considering the limited communication devices that are on this commercial spaceship and the limited technology they have to survive this deadly predicament no one was really ever prepared for. Sure, the later movies, it became more action packed, and then, of course, it also spread to comic books, video games, merchandise. This movie really, truly brought a different light to the sci fi genre. Star Wars may have brought new life to the sci-fi genre, but it's Alien that took it to a much more brooding, darker level. The whole voyage to space truly exhibits psychological effects that the crew undertakes, as we get a gist of loneliness and isolation that garners quite a great feeling of sympathy for the crew. Being away from home with little to or no contact from inside their ship, sometimes you have to wonder if your dreams of being in space as an astronaut is an honor or a nightmare. In this case of the crew of the Nostromo, it goes from a series of doubt to one big fucking nightmare as once the evil creature enters their lives. And he's not going to leave them alone. To get any feeling for anything considered sympathetic, we must have to depend solely on the very small crew. Though there is no true hero depicted here, the crew is still the ones we must trust if ever they are to survive the trenches of space and while encountering the monster. Though there may be little in terms of character backstory, because we just don't have any time for that, thanks to this motherfucking alien. We don't really know too much about the characters. Okay, maybe in later sequels we'll probably know more about Ellen Ripley. They do speak out in terms of interacting with one another, which is good enough to get a bit of understanding of why they chose this mission. But we really didn't come for character development. We didn't come for fucking Shakespeare or Hemingway. Nothing against them, nothing personal. But knowing the genre that we're in, there's just no room for it. That's all there is to it. Though some twists happen 2/3 along the way, including one character who is not what they seem, they are, in the long run, likable, and we truly care about their well-being. Yeah, I think, well, even though Ellen Ripley was the star of the movie, personally, my favorite character in this movie would have to go with Ash. I mean, the character who is not what they seem was Ash, played by late actor, British actor Iam Holm. I mean, we start to get the feeling that something was not likely of him as he starts sweating white liquid, almost milky like. And then once he gets his head bashed in, we discovered, holy shit, this guy is not a human. He's a fucking cyborg, an android. And maybe he probably was the guy who was behind the whole xenomorph thing. Yeah. And then once he got like disassembled, he was eventually destroyed due to a flame pistol or something like that. I don't know. Flamethrower. Forgive my ignorance about weaponry. I'm a nice guy. I don't do weapons. Of course, we can't ignore the life of the party now, can we? There's a lot going on in the physical and mental state of the xenomorph. The physical capabilities depicted in the creature are designed without it looking lopsided or cheesy, and all of its attributes come to life in a believable manner, as when up close chills come tingling on my back. I mean, up at close range to this guy, if you're at close range with him, you're pretty much automatically fucked. The special effects make this monster one of the most feared creatures in movie history, and the added features it brings to the space crew is truly amazing. I mean, the details of this monster is just purely artistically special. No CGI, no algorithms, none of that bullshit. It makes just everything all the more authentic and more precise. And no fucking green screen. Like I mentioned earlier, the movie is more than just a creature feature movie. It has some elements of psychological drama as well. The fear and the intensity is just extremely believable, and albeit a very small cast, they do play their role very believable. The nightmare level is at a fever pitch, and no one on board's safe given the circumstances they have encountered. Sure, it has been released in 1979 and a lot has changed over the years, but Alien is still an effective film that is still legitimate to this day and age. It's aged very well like a fine wine. It combines both the horrors of dealing with the deadly monster while also looking at the emotional scars our astronauts are facing, where contact is very limited and it's all just in the matter of survival. So, in the end, you will likely feel very uncomfortable once the credits roll. I highly recommend this movie. This is the one that started it all, but it's truly one of the best in the franchise. Maybe second best because Aliens is still just as amazing as as this one. The other ones just tend to fall back, but hey, what can I say? This is a franchise that's been going on for 45 years and still continues to entertain. Sure, it becomes more action in later years, but this one does help bring a new route to the sci-fi genre. So, with all this said and done, if I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I would give Alien from 1979. I don't give this very often, but this movie does deserve a perfect 10 out of 10. And I don't give too many 10 out of 10s. So I guess that's it for my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. But just remember the 3 simple rules. Be kind, be courteous, and please refrain from any rude comments. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Cartwright saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Oops, sorry about that. Goodbye.